There are places in this world where the veil between dreams and reality grows thin. Mexico is one of them. In its forgotten villages, in the silence between heartbeats, in the hours when darkness claims the land, things move. Things that should not exist. Things that have been waiting. This channel exists to share what others dare not speak. Stories pulled from whispered confessions. Accounts that families hide. Testimonies that were never meant to leave the shadows. What you are about to hear is one of those stories. Some say it's folklore. Others say it's a warning. But those who have seen them know the truth. There are places in this world where the old rules still apply. In the southern neighborhoods of Mexico City, where mothers lock their doors before sunset, where names are never spoken after dark, and where certain hungers never die. In the ancient streets of Coyoacán, there is a warning that has been whispered for generations. A warning about something that watches, something that waits, something that craves what cannot be given. They call her La Bruja de Coyoacán. And if you have something she wants, she will find you. No one knows how long she has walked these streets. Some say centuries. Others claim she has always been here, woven into the very soil of Coyoacán, as old as the stones themselves. Those who have seen her and lived describe a woman of impossible beauty, dark hair that moves like smoke, skin that seems to glow faintly in the moonlight, eyes that hold something ancient and wrong. She appears at dusk, always alone, always watching. But that is only her shell, because at night, when the street's empty and the dogs go silent, she sheds her skin like a serpent. What emerges is something else entirely, a sphere of fire that drifts through the darkness, surging, hovering outside windows, pressing against locked doors, listening for the sound it hungers for most, the cry of a newborn child. They say she was a mother once. They say she lost what she loved most. And now, in her endless grief and rage, she takes what belongs to others. You will know she is near when the temperature drops, when the streetlights flicker, when every dog in the neighborhood begins to howl at once, then falls suddenly, terribly silent. And if you hear tapping at your window after midnight, do not look, do not answer, and for God's sake, do not let her in. The Martinez family arrived in Coyoacán on a Tuesday in late October. It was supposed to be a fresh start, a better neighborhood, better schools for their teenage son, Daniel, a quieter place to raise their newborn daughter, Sophia, who was barely 3 weeks old. The house was old but charming, with high ceilings and blue tiles in the kitchen. It sat at the end of a narrow street lined with jacaranda trees, their purple blossoms carpeting the sidewalk. The neighbors were polite but distant. They smile. They smile. They but they didn't linger. It was Daniel who first noticed something strange. As his mother, Elena, carried baby Sophia down the street in her arms, old women would stop and stare, not with the usual warmth reserved for infants, but with something else, something that looked almost like fear. One afternoon, while Elena was buying vegetables at the corner market, an elderly woman approached her. She looked at Sophia sleeping in her carrier, and her face went pale. "You just moved here?" the woman asked quietly. "Yes," Elena replied, smiling. "Just last week." The woman didn't smile back. She leaned closer, her voice dropping to barely a whisper. Keep her inside after dark. Every door, every window locked. And if you were tapping at night, do not answer. Before Elena could ask what she meant, the woman walked away, moving faster than seemed possible for someone her age. That night, Elena told her husband, Miguel, about the encounter. He laughed it off. Superstitions, he said. Old neighborhood tales meant to scare newcomers. But Elena couldn't shake the feeling that the woman had been genuinely frightened. Over the next few days, more neighbors approached them with similar warnings. A man at the pharmacy, a teenage girl waiting for the bus, even the mailman, who paused at their door and said simply, "Don't let the baby near the windows after sunset." No one would explain why. Daniel became obsessed with finding out. He was 17, curious and skeptical of ghost stories. He began asking around, searching online, digging through local forums and forgotten blogs about Coyoacán's folklore. That's when he found the stories about La Bruja, tales dating back decades, accounts of families who had lost infants under mysterious circumstances, babies who had been healthy one day and found cold in their cribs the next, with no medical explanation. And always, there were reports of the same things. A beautiful woman seen watching the house in the days before. A sphere of fire spotted hovering near the nursery window. The smell of smoke where there had been no flame. Daniel showed his parents what he'd found. Miguel remained unconvinced, but Elena, holding Sofia close, began locking every door and window before the sun went down. It was the following Saturday when Daniel saw her. He had taken a shortcut through the small wooded area behind their neighborhood, a patch of overgrown trees and crumbling stone walls that locals avoided. The sun was just beginning to set, painting everything in shades of amber and rust. That's when he noticed her, standing perfectly still among the trees. She was the most beautiful woman he had ever seen. Impossibly so. Her dark hair hung loose around her shoulders, and her skin seemed to catch the dying light in a way that made her appear almost luminous. She was staring directly at him. Daniel froze. Something about her gaze made his chest tighten. It wasn't attraction. It was something deeper, something wrong. She smiled, and that without breaking eye contact, she reached up and began to touch her face. Her fingers moved slowly, deliberately, tracing the edges of her jawline, her cheekbones, her forehead, and then she began to pull. Her skin came away like a costume, like something that had never truly belonged to her. Beneath it, there was no flesh, no bone, only light, searing, terrible light that grew brighter and brighter until Daniel had to shield his eyes. When he looked again, the woman was gone. In her place, hovering 3 feet off the ground, was a sphere of fire. It pulsed like a heartbeat, and it began to drift toward him. Daniel ran. He crashed through the trees, branches tearing at his clothes, his lungs burning. He didn't stop until he reached his front door, threw it open, and slammed it shut behind him. His parents found him in the hallway, pale and shaking. "She's real," he gasped. "The Bruja. I saw her. I saw what she became." That night, they locked every door, every window, every possible entrance. Miguel, despite his earlier skepticism, dragged a heavy bookshelf in front of the back door. Elena moved Sophia's crib into their bedroom and kept the lights on. They waited. The hours crawled past. Midnight came and went. Sophia slept soundly, her tiny chest rising and falling in perfect rhythm. And then, at 2:47 a.m., the temperature in the house dropped. It happened all at once. Their breath became visible in the air. Frost began to form on the inside of the window, and from somewhere outside, every dog in the neighborhood began to howl. Then, silence, complete, absolute, as if the world itself had stopped breathing. And then came the tapping, soft at first, barely audible, fingernails against glass. It started at the living room window, then moved to the kitchen, then the bathroom, each window in sequence, slowly circling the house. Tap, 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 tap. Miguel grabbed a flashlight and crept toward the living room window. Elena tried to stop him, but he shook his head. "I need to see," he whispered. He approached the window slowly, his hand trembling as he reached for the curtain. He pulled it aside. Just an inch. There was nothing outside, just darkness, and his own reflection staring back at him. But then the reflection smiled, and it wasn't his smile. Miguel stumbled backward, dropping the flashlight. The bulb shattered, plunging the room into darkness. The tapping stopped. For a long moment, there was nothing. No sound, no movement. And then they heard it, a voice, soft and sweet and terrible. It came from right outside the nursery window. "Let me in," it whispered. "Let me see the baby." Elena clutched Sophie to her chest, tears streaming down her face stalk. Miguel stood frozen, his mind racing. "Please," the voice continued. "I only want to hold her, just once. I lost mine so long ago." The voice cracked, comma, and beneath the sweetness, they heard something else, something ancient and hungry and utterly inhuman. "I can give you anything," it said. "Wealth, health, long life. Just let me hold her, just for a moment." Daniel, who had been watching from the hallway, suddenly remembered something from his research. An old protection ritual, something the forums had mentioned. "Salt," he whispered urgently. "We need salt and iron." Now, they moved quickly. Miguel found a container of salt in the kitchen. Daniel grabbed his mother's sewing sieve, not steel. Working together, they poured lines of salt across every doorway, every windowsill. The voice outside grew angry. "You cannot keep her from me forever," it hissed. "I have time. I have so much time. And you will have to sleep eventually." But as they finished the last line of salt, the presence outside seemed to recoil. The temperature began to rise, slowly at first, then faster. The voice let out a sound that was half scream, half sob. And then it was gone. The Martinez family didn't sleep that night. They sat together in the living room, Sophia cradled between them, waiting for dawn. When the sun finally rose, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold, they opened the front door cautiously. On their doorstep, they found a single object, a piece of skin, human skin, folded neatly like discarded clothing, and it was still warm. The Martinez family still lives in They renewed the salt lines every night for months. Eventually, the months became years. Sophia is 6 now, healthy, happy, normal. But Elena still locks every door before sunset. And Daniel, now in his 20s, still remembers the way the woman's skin came away from her face, the way the light beneath pulsed like a living thing. Sometimes On certain nights, when the air grows cold and the dogs begin to howl, he stands at his old bedroom window and looks out at the trees behind the house. And sometimes, just sometimes, he sees her standing there, watching, waiting, still wearing that same terrible smile. Because the thing about La Bruja de Coyoacán is this: she doesn't forget, she doesn't forgive, and she never, ever stops hunting. There are rules in the old places, rules that were written in blood and bone long before we learned to forget them. Lock your doors at night. Keep your children close. And if you hear tapping at your window after midnight, don't look, don't answer. And whatever you do, don't let her see what you love most, because some hungers are older than memory, and some debts are paid in ways we cannot imagine. Sleep well, and keep your windows locked. Some stories don't end. They linger. They follow you like shadows, like whispers, like creatures that live in the space between sleeping and waking. If you've made it this far, you're one of us now. One of those who know that the old legends aren't just stories, they're warnings. There are more tales buried in the darkness of Mexico, more creatures waiting to be remembered, more testimonies that should have stayed hidden. If you want to hear them, you know what to do. Leave your mark below, subscribe, and when the next story arrives, be ready. Because once you start listening, they start listening back. Did you find the two witches hiding? Mention what minutes they appear and we'll give you a shout out in the next video.